Hello everybody and welcome to the Hunter Gatherer channel, and today my topic I want to cover is boots. And there's quite a few on the table here, and I just want to go over them and let you know what I've used in the past and kind of where I'm headed now. There's so many options when it comes to boots, and you can spend a little or you can spend a lot, and depends on your terrain. It depends on the season. Depends on if you need insulation or not, the temperature. There's so many options. I've used some boots in the past that I'll never use again, and I know there's so many different choices that I'll never come close to trying even 1% of the boots that are out there. So what I'd like, if you have a favorite boot, if you'd leave it in the comments below, let us know kind of what season, what terrain you have, and what your favorite type of boot is. But I'm just going to go through some of these in this line and cover them and then go from there. I would say just about anyone that's had to do some outdoor chores, or especially in our area, has heard of muck boots. And I've had probably 3 or 4 pairs of mucks, and they work really well. They're easy to slide on. Uh, they're waterproof. They're neoprene on the top half, so they're flexible, and they work really well for what they're for. There's a lot of different tread types for them. Some of them are more smooth. Some of them a little more rugged, I guess, but they work pretty well. They just started incorporating this, help you pull them on. And the problem with the muck boot is, one, I've had quite a few of them split in this neoprene where you're folding it all the time. They're kind of easy to puncture if you're walking through like a flooded timber type area, or sticks that are broken off. You can jam them through there, and that's kind of a bummer. The other thing about it is the heel doesn't always hold you well, so you might be popping your heel up off while you're walking. But they serve a purpose, and they do well if you just need to slide something on real quick and do a chore. They do make them in steel toe. These are not that, but they work pretty well. But I would steer away from hunting in these. Blisters for sure. They sweat a little bit, and but something quick, or if you're going out on a recovery or go help a buddy drag one out, maybe throw them on real quick. But most of the time, they're just for working around the house and playing in the snow and stuff like that. The next step up, if you want something waterproof, maybe something like these. These were a Field and Stream purchase. Field and Stream, when they went out of business, I bought these at like 75% off. I think they were $40 instead of 100 and something. And they worked for about a year or two. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a hole right here, and that's right where they would flex. And finally popped a hole. And of course, I was going through water when I noticed that there was a hole, and filled my boot up. They were all right. They tightened up on the sides and loosened up so you can get your foot in and out. And they did hold your heel a little bit better. Pretty good tread on them. And these ones had a 400-gram insulation. Worked all right, but they blew out in about a couple of months of hunting. So, but that's something that I would use in snow, and I would sometimes I would tuck my pant legs in to keep them from getting wet if the snow is only this deep. But if the snow was deeper than that, I would just go ahead and put my pants on the outside. So this boot is not my boot. This is Joy's boot. But I had a boot just like this, but they were black and gray. I bought Joy, and I had the same boots probably 4 or 5 years ago at REI. They have a thing called the yard sale. And that's where people will either try something out, wear it a couple times, and then they can return it, and they'll sell it for a cheaper price, so they can still get some money out of it. And we bought these and mine, and I think I paid like $12 or $15 for mine, and they were brand new. They just wanted to get rid of them. I think they were like 2 or 3 years old, old stock. And Joy's, I think, were worn once or something. There was a little bit of dirt on them, and I think we paid $30 for hers, but they're normally like $170, $180. So they're Gore-Tex, breathable, and they worked really well. I used mine for archery season and for turkey hunting. But the Gore-Tex finally did fail along the sole. And so they were, my feet would get soaked there and right here. Just when you walked through even grass that had dew on it or whatever, about 10 steps in, my feet were already wet. So I threw those out this past year. I was reading up on Gore-Tex, and they said that now when they make a boot, they use like a whole sock of Gore-Tex instead of bringing it down and stitching it into the sole or however they used to do it. So I think they would work better now. I really liked them. They were lightweight. The tongue comes all the way up here that's sealed, and so it was pretty good for ankle deep water, something like that. So they were really nice, and I liked them until I got wet. And you might be seeing a pattern. I like to find a bargain. I don't like to pay full price, and so that's kind of my thing. And I talked on the last video that I'm going to be going on a moose hunt, and so I'm trying to buy items that we're going to go towards that, but I'm trying to find a deal, and maybe I can find you guys a deal too. So these boots are Under Armour Bozeman models, and I was up at a Dick's Sporting Goods years ago when I still shopped there. I don't go there, but we won't get into that. Anyhow, these were a pretty good boot, and I was up in Buffalo on a drive, and I was back up in a back corner, and I found this boot area, and everything was on clearance, and these were normally like $160, and I got them for like 15 or 20 bucks. So I bought a pair for me, a pair for Joy, a pair for a couple other people, and then I ended up leaving with like 15 pairs of boots, and it was crazy. I didn't think I was going to fit them all in my car, but anyhow, these, again, couple seasons out of them, and I can't remember if these are Gore-Tex or if they have like some other kind of propriety waterproofing, but they were waterproof for a while, and now my feet get really wet. And so these have been something I'm using for firewood now because I don't want to have wet feet while I'm in the woods. I had maybe 3 or 4 other pairs of boots like this, like a camouflage leather upper type of boot. One pair from Cabela's. The whole sole blew apart on me this year. They were probably 6 years old, but I didn't wear them very often, and that just totally disintegrated. And a couple other ones that I finally got rid of. I think I threw away about 4 or 5 pairs of boots this year, and I was getting pretty low, so I had to pick up some others or start wearing other items. And that's these Keens. They have a Keen Dry, I believe it's called. And these were a pair of boots that I bought last year just for casual shoes or whatever, working or walking around in the snow in the fall or when it was raining out, so I keep my feet dry. And this year I decided that I would use them for hunting, so I started hunting with these in spring turkey, and then again for archery season, and I just noticed that they're starting to come apart on the sole just a little bit. But my feet did stay dry in these. I got these on sale too. I can't remember what I paid for them, but I do like them, and I'll keep wearing them for a little while until they totally fall apart, which is, it's looking like it's inevitable. They're about to go on me. At the end of deer season this year, during muzzleloader, I finally decided I needed to try something different for boots. I was looking at a bunch of different places, and I happened to be at CR Trading Post, and they don't always have your size. They don't always have exactly what you're looking for because they get it in onesies, twosies sometimes. But I happened to find these boots, and I don't know how you say it, Azolo or Azolo or anyhow. This is a Gore-Tex boot. It has a fairly stiff sole on it, and it has a pretty good tread pattern, and they're a little bit taller than the Keens, not quite as tall as the Under Armour, but these are normally, I think these boots are normally like $250 or $3 something, and I got them I think for like $120 or somewhere in there, and they worked out really well. I went through a lot of pretty deep water and they stayed dry. I really liked the way that they tie. The hardware on here, it's like a loop that it goes right through, and it has a little bit of flexibility to it. And so this I used the last couple of hunts, and I figured they must be good boots because I got 3 deer in the last few hunts that I went out with a muzzleloader. So I christened them with some deer blood, and they worked well for me. I'm excited to get them back on, and probably during the turkey hunt coming up in May, we'll put some more miles on them. So I'm going to take all these boots out of the way, because the main reason for the video is to show you my new boots. During Black Friday this year and Cyber Monday and all that stuff, I had been working quite a bit, and I was just thinking, you know what, I do need to get some new boots, but I was looking for boots for work, and I was kind of bouncing through a bunch of the companies out there, Kenetrex and Crispies and some of the other big hunting boot names, just to see if they had some boots that would work well for me for work. And nothing that I was looking at was steel toe, but I was just looking at something that would have a nice stiff sole that I could use for climbing, and some other features that I was looking for. Waterproof had to be definitely mandatory. So I was looking at all these different boots and just trying to figure out which way to go. And I stumbled across this company because it popped up on Facebook or something as an advertisement, and they were having a sale that said 50% off. And I pulled that up, and I was kind of looking at these boots that I'm going to pull out of here. So I put these in my cart, and I told my wife about them and told a couple other people about them. I was thinking about doing it, but it was still a pretty high purchase. It was like $250 on a pair of boots that I've never heard of the brand before. I was reading all the reviews on their website, and I was kind of Googling it just to see. And by the time I did a little bit of research, I went back in to finally make the order, because I don't like to order something right away. I like to wait so I don't have buyer's remorse. And I had, I guess, procrastinator's remorse, because when I went back in, the sale was over and it was no longer 50% off. And I was like, dang it. But I put in my head, I'll go back next year for Black Friday and see about making a purchase. So we got talking about this moose hunt, and I was telling my dad and my uncle, hey, we're going to have to get some nice boots, and bouncing some names off of them. And I decided I'd go back up on their website. This company is what I would say Schnee, but I guess it's Schnee is how you say it. And I don't know if it's a town in Montana or if they're just from Montana. It actually says that's from Bozeman, Montana, right here. And they have a website, schnees.com. And so I went in to look at the boots just to dream about them again and read up on them, because I still was interested. And when I went in, I was scrolling up, and it said this particular boot in the 22, which was the 2022 models, were on clearance again. And they just happened to have my size, so I hurried up and ordered them. They are an American company. They have a factory, I don't know if it's a factory, where they make them in Montana, or they make some boots in Italy. And these ones are actually made in Italy. But this is what we've got. This is called the Timberline. I don't know if you can see that. Timberline, they're a size 12 medium, and the normal price is $459. But I got them for $225, and pretty excited about that. And this is the boot. Just so you know, I'm not getting paid for any of this. These boots I bought out of my own pocket, but I was just pretty excited about them. And if you're from this area, you probably never even heard of them before. So I thought I'd just throw some information out there a little bit, and I'll let you know how well they work for me, and how comfortable they are, how waterproof they are. You know, if you ever got a question about them, just put it in the comments below. And there's a few different things that I liked. I liked the hardware. The thickness of the leather was another key feature that they talked about. And there's a pretty cool system here with this lace system that this pops up, and then as you get it tight how you want to, you shove that in and it locks the laces in place. I like that because I like my boots to stay pretty tight. Another thing was their waterproofing system on these boots. It's their own personal, it's called Sympatex, and they said that with some of the other, they didn't say it specifically, but they said a lot of their other boots that they've had, I believe, and they were talking about Gore-Tex, and they said that they had a lot of failures on previous boots, so they switched to the Sympatex that I think they created themselves. So I'm excited to try that out. They're pretty light for the size boot they are, and they have a solid piece of the sole that they talked about too. These are Vibrams, and they're pretty aggressive, so that looked pretty good for me. And there was a ton of amazing comments that people talked about, so I'm excited to try these out. Looks like they also have, you can get them resold for $125 if need be. I'm sure a lot of you have spent a large amount of money on a pair of boots before, but I've never spent $225 on boots that I can think of. And I've never owned a pair of boots that normal cost $460. So I'm excited about these boots. The main reason for the purchase was to get ready for this moose hunt in a year and a half. So I wanted to get a pair of boots that I was going to be confident in if I'm going and getting in a lot of water and putting a lot of miles on. So I wanted to get them and start putting some miles on them and try them out and get them ready to go. So I'll keep you guys posted on what I think about them. And again, any kind of information on boots, that the reason why you go with those, or what type of boots you wear, or how much you've spent on boots before, I don't know, whatever you want to put down there in the comments. We love comments. And all right, that's going to be it on our boot talk, and hopefully you guys can give us some pretty cool info in the bottom of other really good brands of boots that you've owned, and try not to bash other boot companies too bad, but if there's something that you want to tell us not to ever buy, you can put that in there too, I guess. All right, just want to let you know that we love you and God loves you, and we'll see you on the next one. Happy hunting and happy trekking in your new boots. See you guys later.